Welcome everyone. Great to see you. See that? Actually see you. There we go. Hey. So.
Hi, Kenneth.
Hi guys. Happy days. So usually I do the a bit of an introduction. It's a bit different to a Sunday night Zoom, I guess, in that it's not an hour and a half. It's a 2-day kind of thing. So the usual stuff, the exits are behind you, the blah blah blah, all of that kind of stuff, is really to say that you know, if there's something to be asked, it's just there to be asked, and there's no kind of silly question or obvious question or a question that, oh, I better not ask that because that just maybe makes it look like I'm there or makes it look like I don't get this or whatever. None of that. I mean, if it's there and it's just there to be asked, that's it, because it's really just energetic. This is a question arises from nothing, and an answer arises from nothing, and all of this is energetic. It's not that over the next 2 days something will become more obvious intellectually, or maybe it will, but that's not a goal, because really it's not conceptual. It's not to do with understanding. It's not to do with knowing. It's an energetic shift, you could say. It's an energetic shift, apparent energetic shift. But we'll get into all of that over the next 2 days. So it's just lovely that you're here, and it's lovely that that we can explore this in a bit more depth. The longer ones are really fantastic. I really enjoy them. So there is the kind of natural breaks for after, I think it's usually about an hour and a half, and then breakout room or whatever. But obviously at any point, just you're not going to miss anything by turning the camera off and doing something else or whatever. It doesn't really matter. So what's being shared is very ordinary and very obvious and simple. It's that there's only what's appearing to happen. There's only energy, and that's actually all there ever has been. The sense you have of there being a person there, an individual who's inside the body and has the body, owns the body, and looks out on a world that's outside of them, that's been illuminated over these next 2 days as being a story. That's what appears to happen here. So hence all that, if there's questions, it doesn't really matter. There's no right or wrong question. It's just any aspect of that can be explored and spoken about, and it will always be illuminated that sense of being a separate individual person whom you were told you were since you first can remember, and the world appeared to confirm to you that you are, that is being illuminated as being a story. There is no separate you. There is no individual. There is no you in there in the body, and there never has been. It's an energetic, contracted sense of there being an inner and an outer, a world out there. There's life, and then there's a me in here, and I have my life. And it feels absolutely real. It's a lived reality. It's not a concept for the person. It's not an idea that I think I'm a person. It's a lived reality that I'm here and I'm making my way through life. I have a life. There's a world out there, and I'm making choices and moving through time and space, and taking action to bring about a better situation for myself, to improve my life and so on. And that's fine. There's nothing right or wrong with that. That's just what appears to happen. Underneath all of that, there can be a sensitivity to that story not satisfying. There's something not quite right with it. There's something, no matter what I do, what I efforts I make, there's something that's just in that whole thing that just doesn't seem to work. And then there's a sensitivity then to, or an openness to another possibility. And that other possibility is what's being shared here energetically, that sense of you being a person, having a life, is a story, and that can be seen. It's just seen by nobody. It's not an actual happening, as we'll explore. It's an apparent energetic shift, and what's obvious is that there's only what's appearing to happen. There's only just what's appearing to happen, and that's all there ever has been. And all of that story of me was a false, or an artificial addition then on top of what appeared to happen. So in other words, you never actually even began, only apparently. And that's why I'm not suggesting here that there could be an end to you at some point over the next 2 days, because there is no you to end over the next 2 days. It's already the case that you're not there. And I am not speaking to X amount of people all over the globe. There's just energy. There's just aliveness. There's just what's appearing to happen. There's just breathing, sounds, sensations, sitting, visually what's happening. There's just simply what's appearing to happen. So let's see what happens. Apparently, yeah, you're in control now, Emerson. I don't have to do any clicking or
That's right.
reading or. This is good.
Ashish, please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Emerson. Thanks, Kenneth.
Oh yeah.
So one thing just needed some pointers. When we say it is nothing, but it is everything.
Yeah.
So apparently it is everything, but in reality it is just one energy appearing as apparent everything. So it is nothing. Just trying to understand.
Yeah.
Get the point.
You won't really fully understand the nothing, everything scenario, and the reason, or the description, and the reason is it's completely beyond understanding. Actually, it's the mind of the person who understands. It's the individual who lives in a closed loop of understanding. They feel that the world is knowable and that they can understand it, and in that understanding is a dualism. It's a play of opposites. Everything, for the person, there is everything, and then there's another thing, a different thing called nothing, or more accurately probably something. There's something. So the computer is something, the microphone is something, I'm something, you're something else, and there's another thing, different thing called nothing. In the same way that people conceive of conceptualize, there's life and then there's death. There's this other thing called death. So that's the way, that's that play of opposites that is essentially actually is the person. The person is the dualism. The person is the play of opposites. So, thinking that I somehow get my head around and understand everything being nothing and nothing being everything, that's not going to happen. I don't understand it, but there are lovely words that point towards it. They point towards it. um, and it's that there's not something and nothing. They're not two separate things. There's oneness, if you want to use that word, which is not a great term in many ways, but anyway, there's oneness, or there's energy, and energy is in fact actually empty, and it's energy. Something is just energy. So they're not two different things. So there's energy computering, microphoning, voicing, sitting. That's what it is. But the person doesn't feel like that. The person has a lived experience of there being a sense of, I'm sitting on the chair, I'm speaking into the microphone, I'm speaking to this gentleman here who I met for the first time, whom I can see on a screen, and this is there's a really lived feeling of things really being real. Everything is real. This is a Zoom call that I'm participating in, blah blah blah, and that all the time that feels real. It feels real. And when that sense of being a person can apparently collapse, everything is obviously just a play of light. This is nothing appearing to happen. And it's all beyond understanding. Any knowing is just an abstraction. Totally beyond the mind. Like what's being shared here over the next 2 days is absolutely beyond comprehension or understanding. What's yearned for by the person is does not need to be understood, cannot be understood, and is actually inescapable, as it's already just whatever is appearing to happen.
Thank you.
Thanks.
There's a couple of questions here. What is non-dual awareness, and what is a non-duality perspective?
So you'll never hear me saying either of those things. You'll never hear me say non-dual awareness, and you'll never hear me say, well, maybe, sorry, a perspective. Maybe I will sometimes use that word, but it's misleading, because perspective implies there's somebody who has the perspective. So the first one, non-dual awareness, I mean, it's very common to hear that now, and it's quite popular. Non-duality itself has become quite popular, and it's not non-duality. Most of it speaks to a person and tells them how they can get somewhere, and lovely terms like that have cropped up, like non-dual awareness and non-dual perception and non-dual this and that. So that's fine. The person loves all that stuff. The individual loves it because it speaks to them. Awareness is actually just a feature of feeling like a person. So an aspect of that knowing is that I'm aware of something else, and it's that sense of separation that gives rise to that awareness and that knowing. Actually, what's been spoken of here has nothing to do with awareness. Awareness is just as an aspect of feeling like a person. It's completely irrelevant. And what's been spoken of also is is irrelevant to you, actually. It's nothing to do with you, which some people find very that's just incredulous that would be the case, because as a person, everything has to do with me. Everything. I'm too much one thing, I'm not enough of another. But it's nothing to do with you, because what this is the illumination that there is no you, actually. There is no separate you. That's a story. And it's not about a perception. This is not about you perceiving things in a certain way. It's about there being no you that perceives that there's just what's appearing to happen. And it's not about a state. This is not about being in some sort of state, some sort of non-dual state, or any kind of an experience or anything.
There's a couple of questions here, but go ahead, David, first, and I'll read the questions.
Don't know if you
Yeah,
heard that.
yeah. I got most of it. Is the illusory self adept at skilled at
Oh,
avoiding?
using this message.
Oh yeah. It's more than that. The bird, it can't actually hear it at all. And the good
Okay.
thing then is that it's not been spoken to. So so there's no sense here of someone who's speaking to somebody else. That's very, very central to this communication. The person, the individual, is a story, so there's no interest in it at all. All that's been illuminated is that sense of you being a person is artificial. So the person, the energy of feeling like a person, can't actually hear what's being said here, because all that energy of being a person can do is extract something for themselves, either completely reject what's being suggested or just not hear it and change it into something else that they can do. So you're not actually being spoken to at all. It has nothing to do with you at all. What's being suggested here has nothing to do with you.
Okay.
So when it resonates, then it doesn't resonate with you. Is another.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just resonates with what you actually are, which is nothing but everything.
Okay. So that leads me on then to kind of. I'll try and make this as not long-winded as I can. But basically, where this question came from was just recently. I was listening to some music on headphones, and I hadn't heard this particular song in like decades. It was a song from my childhood, from maybe 40 years ago, and it was a really happy time in my life. And this song came on, and I got this overwhelming sense of, I suppose, beauty, but also a really deep sadness that was a beautiful time in my current life that was lost to me, that I could never get. And then that kind of overwhelming feeling of sadness, for whatever reason, it then became about the sort of the tragedy of the sort of the person and the human species, that, that we're all chasing this sort of illusory dream and completely convinced by it. And then this overwhelming sadness was then my voice popped into my head, the person, and said, "There you go. You don't want this, do you? Because it would be an enormous loss. You wouldn't be able to experience if you weren't here anymore. You wouldn't be able to feel the beauty of that human condition. That would be lost to you forever." So that's what kind of led to that question. Is that just the apparent
Yeah.
need being really sort of deceptive, or is it true? Is it an enormous loss in that regard?
So that's what appeared to happen there. Then that's all of that. What you described is energy, the thoughts. There is only energy. So that's what appeared to happen there. The person would always add, the narrative or the voice of the individual will always be there to say, more or less to say, this is dangerous, danger, danger, danger. Do not listen to this. Do not go there, because if you do, there will be just this void, big nothing. And as you put it quite nicely, there you won't be able to experience life or in the human condition or all of that. So that's the typical reaction because all the individual wants to do is continue to feel like an individual. So it's like a feeding, just a continual closed loop of me. So anything within that loop will just feed the loop.
Yes.
Either by outwardly saying something like that you expressed there, this is dangerous, don't listen to this, you won't, or else by turning what's been said into something else. That's a very clever way as well of doing it. Like, oh, this is non-dual awareness, and this is the same as my spiritual teacher said in the ashram in India, or this guy in Chicago who I listen to every week, who gives me non-dual pointers about the nature of my true self, and this is the same as that, and this is blah blah blah. So that's another that's even better way, actually, really, is just kind of diffusing it. But so what's being shared here is already known because you are already it, and it just resonates as it resonates. It's so obvious that it appears to hide. That's how it appears to hide, is by already just being everything, already just being what's appearing to happen. And the big joke is, this is the big joke, you're already not there. So you're already not there. So all the mind chatter is, oh, but if I'm not there, I won't get to experience the love my children have for me, or the love I have for my partner, or the thrill of this thing I enjoy, or that all that will be lost to me. The big joke is, you're already not there. You're already not there. So what it is there's the love of the children, the love of their partner, the love of all those things. That's just what appears to happen, and then you add yourself to it. Then the whole arrogance of the person is that none of this would happen without me. If I'm not there, none of this happens. It's amazing. It's so endearing, actually. It's lovely.
So either way, it's completely powerless to have any effect either way anyway.
Oh yeah, what's being shared here is there is no person.
Yeah.
So there's already no person. So it's not that, when it comes to power and what I can appear to do or not do, that's all a story, because if there's no person, who is it that can do, or who is it that cannot do? There's nobody to do, and there's nobody to not do. So you see, what often is heard is, so you're saying there's nothing I can do. That's one of the most common things that's first heard when people hear this. So you're saying there's nothing I can do. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm not saying that at all. Never said that. I'm saying there's no you. So if I'm saying there's no you, how am I saying then that there's nothing you can do?
Yeah.
And then that's the thing, is that there's actually this always comes back to something very ordinary. It's very, very ordinary and obvious, and it's simply what appears to be happening. That's all. It's that ordinary, and that ordinary wholeness, boundless energy is continually overlooked by the person energetically in favor of something that's going to be around the next corner, something that's better. It's a hopeful, anticipatory energy of something better than what is, in favor of something of what might be.
That's great. Thanks very much.
Thank you, David.
Question here. How did you get started speaking? Were you a teacher before, or did public speaking? I guess the question is, what prompted you to speak about this when there's no one and nothing to get?
So it's just a passion. There was always a passion. There was a passion there for this, a huge passion for freedom and just this scene. When at the same time that the part of me fell away, there was just, in that communication was immediately there. I know people who have apparently fallen away, who don't speak about this and have absolutely no interest in ever speaking about that, and that's what appears to happen there. It was quite a surprise, actually, because Kenneth does not like being the center of attention at all. The character at all would not enjoy standing up in front of a group of people, and would have avoided that, really. And was in scenarios where I had to do it, like teaching English as a foreign language, doing education in professionally, having to speak and all of that, but absolutely disliked it completely. And it was quite a surprise to the character Kenneth, to me, that I would want to there would be this sharing with before this scenario where we've all moved to Zoom, but in person with a room full of people. It was quite surprising, actually. But again, it has nothing to do with Kenneth. That's the thing. Nothing to do with Kenneth. It has nothing to do with you, the way you you are, or the way you think you are, or the way you think other people think you are, because all of that is a story. So it just kind of appeared to happen that way. I had a photography blog because I used to do a lot of photography, and in the blog, I set up, my friend helped me set up the site. I was kind of doing weddings and things like that at the time. Was I doing weddings? No, I was doing exhibiting stuff and maybe starting to move into weddings. But I had a blog as part of it, and immediately the blog became about this very quickly, like almost straight away. And it was more to it was photography with some narrative about it. There's just what's appearing to happen, and that was it then, really. I think my good friend Frank had recommended me to somebody or something, and all of that it's all a story anyway. But then there was a couple of interviews, and that was it. That's about 12 years ago now. And I'm not a teacher, and I never have been a teacher, and there are no teachers. Anyone who calls themselves a teacher, I would just walk away, because this is about, what's being shared here is about something that's ungraspable, unknowable, unteachable, inescapable. It's just a sharing, that's all.
Question here. Is the saying all is consciousness the same as what's being expressed here?
No, that's a confusing term to me. I wouldn't use the term consciousness really, because it's I would use it interchangeably with awareness, because it's just knowing, really. It's a person knowing. I'm conscious that I'm conscious that I'm speaking now. As a person, I would say I'm conscious that I'm speaking now, and I'm conscious of giving time for people to ask questions. It's this sense of consciousness, and this sense of awareness is just simply a feature of feeling like a person that is reflective of a sense of being separate to what's appearing to happen. So there's what's appearing to happen, and then there's a lived sense of me experiencing what's appearing to happen, and in that apparent gap there's this consciousness and awareness. And for the person, it's very, very seductive to be told that the key is awareness or consciousness. It very much feels to the person that there's something in that will unlock everything. So it's a very popular thing to say that this is about consciousness or blah blah. But all of those terms for me just speak to a person, really, and are confusing. What's being shared now for the weekend is still quite a rare thing, actually. You're not going to hear it that often. There's more and more now, but you're still talking about, in the grand scheme of things, a very, very few people where it's clear and uncompromising, and boundless. I wouldn't put a number on. I've no idea. It went from a real small handful to more than that in the last few years, but still, that's the kind of what you're talking about. Everything else then is generally, and this is not right or wrong or good or bad, it's just everything else is a message that speaks to a person.
Question here. If you can read out the following. Sorry. If everything arises spontaneously, then how come we don't wake up from our sleep one day speaking a totally random language or go to a different random workplace? There seems to be a lot of order, and one thing leads to another.
Yeah, life appears to be ordered and have patterns in it. That's the way it is. It is both order and chaos. It is both logical and illogical. It is everything and nothing. And it appears that when you come home to your house, you put the key in your door, not the neighbor's door, or not the one down the road. That's the way things appear. and that's all energy. Like, I mean, the person hears this and they have some idea of what's being shared. Like, a very common one I'd hear is, so if there's oneness, then why can't I hear the thoughts that you're thinking there? Because if there's oneness, I should be able to just hear. And these are all just ideas about what's being shared, and notions about, um, oneness and everything. And it's not like that at all. It's just that it's indescribable. I can't describe it, actually. Like, what's being pointed towards here all weekend is not knowable or describable, and yet is ludicrously obvious, incredibly obvious and ordinary. And it's energy appearing as life, the way life appears. That there appears to be a job, there appears to be money paid into a bank account, there appears to be, I could go on and on and on, and that's just the way. And it's all just energy. It just appears that way. And energy oneness appears as a unique experience. So there's every snowflake is unique, every apparent person is unique, because it's oneness appearing as that.
Question here. When it's so easy as said by all realized individuals, why is it missed by most? Are there any pointers, please? Thanks.
Well, this whole 2 days is a pointer. Everything being shared is like, it's if there's an openness to this, energetically can be a resonance to what's shared here, and that's what this is. There are no realized individuals, just to be really clear. I'm not a realized individual. I'm not an enlightened individual. I'm not an individual. I'm not anything. This is just aliveness and a sharing from nothing. And actually, what makes this incredibly different and boundless is that I'm not sharing something from something I know, or this is totally unknown. It's just sharing from nothing. And that's what makes it, contrasts it hugely to somebody who knows, who feels like they are awakened or enlightened or realized, or whatever that, I can't even remember what term was used there. And then they speak to somebody else, and that's a whole different energy, and is very seductive to the person. Once you feel like an inadequate individual, unwhole individual, and someone says, I can show you wholeness, it's very seductive.
Question here. A non-duality speaker said that we're all primates and also that there's no one. Can you comment on that, please?
I don't really comment on what other people say at all. I have much more interest in just sharing what's rising here now. This is about something very simple and ordinary. It's about that there's only energy. There's just energy. They're just sitting on a chair. They're speaking. There's a screen. There's heads and hands and and laughing and nodding and frowning and crying, maybe. There's just what's appearing to happen. It's very ordinary. I don't really have huge interest in going on into, this person said this and this person said that. There's no authority, actually. Nobody has anything. There's no teachers, there's no gurus, there's none of that. That's all part of the story. When I feel like a person, there feels like there's people who know and have authority.
Question here. So uniqueness, like with snow and snowflake, is mistaken for differences?
Well, differences, I mean, there are, one car is different to another, a person's face is different to another. I don't really get the question. Like, I mean, that's what it's all energy. Differences appear. Differences appear. But it's all energy. Everything is just energy. Like, all there is energy. And energy is boundless, borderless, unknowable, and it's everything. And everything is nothing. And it's just simply what appears to be happening. It's this. It's just whatever appears to be happening.
Can you please talk about the circle of knowing?
It's just the person is I describe the person like a closed loop or a bubble. I sometimes like to describe it as a bubble. Um, and there's a feeling when when you feel like a person, there's a sense of that there's life and there's me. There's a me with my life, and life is knowable. And the more I know life, the more safe I am to negotiate through life and keep myself safe in my bubble. Um, and so in that reality, in that subject-object reality, and when I say subject-object, I mean you, the person, is a subject and everything is an object, like the tree, your daughter, your son, your partner, an experience, a thought. Everything is an object to my subject, and everything can be known, and I know it, and it's this or that or it's the other. Actually, everything is completely unknowable. It has appearances, it has flavors, it has qualities, there's patterns, there's all of that, but in essence everything is unknowable. Once you think you know it, you're actually not seeing it as it actually is. For example, when you think you know what feels like another person, once you feel you just that's John, I know John is blah blah blah, that's all a story. There may be patterns, there may be a flavor to John, but actually it's just life Johnning, and it's actually completely unknowable. That's not seen. That's not seen from the perspective of the person. That's only really seen when that sense of being a person. When that sense of being a person is no longer, then there's life is Johnning, life is treeing, life is carrying, life is it's just all energy then, and it's the same and it's totally different.
Question here. Would wave and ocean anomaly be apt here? Is it like fish swimming in search of water?
Yeah, I mean all of those, like there's tons and tons of really nice metaphors and analogies, and I don't really say too many of them, and I know other people do. And that's one. It's like what you're looking for is like a fish looking for water. So the fish, it's like a fish swimming around looking for water. It's a nice way of putting it. So the fish is feels that there's this thing called water. I heard all about it. I just can't see it. I can't see it. No matter how hard I look, I just can't see it. Where is it? That's a nice way of looking at it. It's very much like that. The person looking for wholeness is very much like that. I've heard of this thing called wholeness. Where is it? Where is it? Is it over there? Maybe if I do ayahuasca, I'll get there. Maybe if I do a Vipassana retreat, I'll get there. Maybe if I, work on my shadow work, maybe I'll get there. Maybe if I eat a vegan diet for 10 years, I'll get there. But the list, just because I could literally talk for fucking days about the things that the person thinks that they can do to get there. There is no there to get to. There's no there. There never has been a there. There's just already only wholeness, aliveness. That's all there is. And that's the big joke then. What's been yearned for is just simply already been, just simply breathing, sitting, looking out, a bird, a tree, voice, screen. Oh.
Question here. Is there any karmic consequences to those that harm animals?
That would be a story. That's a story in the story, yeah. Like all the other stories about, if you're a bold boy, if you're a naughty boy, you'll not get into heaven. No, you will not. You're not going into, there's no waiting room anymore because the Pope did away with that. So you're either going down or up, one or the other. Naughty. There's lovely stories. Like there's loads of stories. It's all stories. What's been shared here is a complete and utter loss of everything. So as a person, you feel like you are a person, an individual. There's a lived feeling of feeling like a person, and you feel that what's yearned for is you obtaining something, getting something that will complete you. And actually, it's not like that at all. It's that there's sense of being a person would fall away, apparently. So actually what's yearned for is a loss. It's not a gain at all. And in that apparent loss, it's seen that this is nothing being everything. Everything is lost from the perspective of a person. All ideas about the way the world is, all concepts about the way the world is, completely lost, and there is nothing. And in that nothing, it is seen, not in the nothing, but nothing is seen as everything.
Andy, please go ahead.
Hi, Kenneth. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
I can hear an echo, but okay. I don't know if this is a great question, to be honest, but I'll...
Well, just I'm sorry to interrupt you, but just at the beginning, I sincerely meant it when I said there is no such thing as a great question. There's no such thing as a great question, and there's no such thing as a silly question. This is all energetic. So there's apparently asking a question. That's all.
Sure. So in, I suppose, this story, there is seeing, at least. There's the appearance of the room when I open my eyes.
Yeah.
It's apparent seeing, I suppose. In this story, however, my eyes begin to fail and or I go blind. How come this apparent seeing that is just happening independently always fails in perfect proportion to the failings of my apparent eyes? In other words, your eyes are failing, at least that's the story, and things around you, the view of the room is degrading absolutely perfectly. This goes back to your point about there being order. But it's a remarkable coincidence that, if I get some apparent spectacles which correct my eyeballs, suddenly I can see the room perfectly as well. And it's the same with other senses, hearing and so on. Are we saying that poor eyesight is still just a part of the dream? Are we saying that there's an energy that's random, or not random, but chaotic, but at the same time
it's not ordered? About there. It's not what I'm not suggesting that there is an energy. Okay, so I'm not saying that there's an energy which is wholeness, oneness, that's accessible to you. That's not what's been said at all. There is only energy. That's all there is. Actually, there's just only energy. So with regard to seeing, the person feels that they are seen. So I can see now a number of screens on a grid on a computer, right? So if I felt like a person, I would feel that I'm looking at these grids on the computer. I can also hear sounds. People are talking. if I felt like a person, I would say that I'm hearing, and so on through all the senses. So I'm sitting on a chair. There's a sense of sitting on a chair, but it's not that there's just a sense of sitting on a chair. I'm sitting on a chair. And there's not just grids being seen. I'm seeing the grids. And there's not just voices being heard. I'm hearing the voices. This is very, 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 very simple, what's being shared. It's ludicrously obvious. That's how it appears to hide. Everything that is pouring, say through the senses, you could, if you want to use that language, is simply just energy. And the sense of being a person is like a filter then, that or a filter that attaches itself or overlays its on true to everything. I'm hearing, I'm speaking, I'm sitting, me. And simply what's being suggested is that is a story. It's artificial. And it's always been a story. Always. It's that sense you had of feeling like a person who has a life is always been a story. And that can just be seen, that can resonate. Eyesight can appear to fail. Other senses can appear to fail. That's what appears to happen.
So yes, so you're if I understood that correctly, there's something indescribable happening.
This is
but
what's
in front
being
of that
pointed
there
to.
is a
Well, there's what's appearing to happen. Okay, so there's always what's appearing to happen. So now there's a voice, there's speaking, whatever. For the person, there's not just what's appearing to happen, there's me. So there's what's appearing to happen to me. And it's what that me that we take for granted and don't question is not, it's an appearance. That's what's being shared here.
I suppose I'm trying to take the position that there is no me. And I'm trying to say that there is a story. Are you saying there's no such thing as a story without a me?
What I'm saying is there's what's appearing to happen. There's what's appearing to happen. And what's appearing to happen, people, bodies, report themselves to be separate people. So that's what appears to happen then. And there's a sharing that you say that you're a person is just simply a story. That's all. And that's heard as it's heard then.
Okay,
mostly goes under. I'm not saying, I'm speaking in general terms. I didn't say that you were. Yeah. I don't care if somebody says that they feel, if somebody here now says, well, I feel like an individual, and then in the next thing someone says, I don't feel like an individual, for me there's just what's appearing to happen. Those two things are the same for me. There's no preference for one, or it doesn't matter, because all there is just energy. So if someone says they're a person, or someone says they don't feel like a person, what difference does it make?
No.
This is beyond understanding. There can be an openness to this resonating that it's not, that is beyond any kind of knowing.
Yeah, I think I was just, for whatever reason, I wrote down a question that's, I suppose,
but you
I
didn't
was looking,
even.
I know, I didn't really do it.
You were looking. Sorry, go on.
I was looking at my eyes opened, and the room was apparent. I could see the room, and I thought, yeah, but when I look at a book, I can't read it without my glasses. And yeah, I guess there's a sense here of me experiencing that. Don't deny that. And it's a story that I'm making up to say, well, if energy, or if all there is energy, and seeing is just is happening as an energetic, and likewise failing is eyesight is happening, and likewise various other things happen. all I'm pointing out is they're all happening perfectly in sync to make this story. I'm not making the story up. My eyes really are failing. I have to really wear spectacles, put them on. I couldn't ignore that. Or it's really happening as far
Yeah,
as
and
my physical
there's
body is
nobody,
concerned.
there's nobody being spoken to here, so there's nothing being asked of anybody. So it's just being illuminated that there's just what's appearing to happen. So if that was something being in perfect focus, or that being blurry and out of focus, then all that's energy. It's just energy.
Yeah.
That's all.
Mm. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Andy.
I don't know if that answers the question, but I don't know if it's I don't even know if
It
I
doesn't matter.
understand the
We'll
question.
just go back
We're
to what
just
we said at
talking.
the beginning. There's no great questions. There's no silly questions, because if this is beyond understanding and beyond knowing and ungettable, how would it matter then? It's just energetic. There's no you didn't even just ask a question there, actually. That's the incredible thing. You didn't even just speak there. There was speaking. Apparently, everything just is an appearance.
And that's why it wasn't asked very well. If I'd asked it, it would have been asked properly. I'm sorry about that.
If you could just apologize in writing, that would be better. Yeah, and you could write to Emerson and just CC me.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, that would be great. I prefer these apologies in writing. I like to have a record of them.
We'll post it on your website, Kenneth.
And then we just file it away, Emerson.
Yeah.
Good to have files.
It'll
I would
be
keep
on my permanent record.
Yeah, could be on your record then, and then the you'll be you'll be a bad question asker.
Ashish, go ahead.
Thanks, Amazon. So, kind of two questions really here is so if nothing is happening, still this character that I'm looking is saying that. So how can somebody who's not there say something about nothing? Like,
I can't actually hear you very well. You're quite low.
oh, sorry. Yeah. So maybe I'm just away. So where I was trying to get at is when there's no this person, if it's an apparent, so happening, not really. When this apparent person is saying there's nothing there, how, like, where is what? And if it's nothing, then somebody who is not there saying there's nothing is how, like.
So the way it is that once you feel like a person, there'll always be somebody else, because you feel like a person. There has to be somebody else. So when this is the suggestion is made that this is coming, that this is from nothing, that there's nobody here, that this is nothing being everything, the person can't hear that, as we've covered a few times already. It can't. The person isn't being spoken to here, and the individual cannot imagine or what it's like for there to just be nothing, to be nobody there, because they feel like a person here. There is someone over there who is talking about nothing, is talking about wholeness, is talking about boundless. That's the way it is. Once this is communicated, once this inherent in this communication is that the person feels that there's something on offer. So there's a carrot for the person. There can't not be. And they feel that the communicator is has to be somebody who knows something and is talking about it. It has to be like that. When you don't feel like a person anymore, it's very obvious. It's very, very, very obvious that there's just a character there's just speaking, and nothing is known. There's no authority anywhere. There's just what's appearing to happen.
And once this character would this once this character knows or apparently drops off, th- uh, does it see then everything is like it's choiceless, helpless, spontaneous? It is happening, although we think we are the doers, kind of. But what we know, like for breathing is happening, sleeping is happening, digestion is happening, because yeah, if I decide I want to breathe, I would be dead very soon. Um, so it makes sense that these things are happening spontaneously. So the character realizes that it is choiceless and there is no real doer.
It's not describable. Like if you were to apparently fall away, or anyone else here was to apparently fall away, and even in, say now we have a session, and the session finishes and there's a breakout room and someone comes back and says, I don't feel like a person, they wouldn't be able to describe it actually. Or if, say, they join the meeting tomorrow and they say, well, there's something different about today. I woke up, but I didn't wake up. There was just waking up. I didn't eat my breakfast. There was just eating breakfast. Equally, they would not be able to describe it in any kind of way that would make any sense to anybody. They could point at it, and that's it. In the same way that I can't describe it. It's not describable. And when you say that, then that it's not describable, the person kind of feels, well, oh, it must be terribly complex or amazing or esoteric, or just, it's not actually in that way. It's so immediately just, it's the isness, the immediate isness of it it's totally indescribable. It's just what appears to happen. And it's total mystery, and it's total living in the unknowing of just what's appearing to happen. Very ordinary and not describable.
Thanks. Thank you.
And already the case. That's the thing. Already the case. The sense you have of being a person is an artificial addition to what's appearing to happen, and it just plays out like it plays out all the time. You feel like a person, then that's what's appearing to happen. I feel like a person. I feel there's something to get. I feel that I'll get it someday. Fair enough.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Question here. Does more carelessness arise when the me falls away?
I can't say what appears to happen when the me apparently falls away. It's the same, and it's not the same. It's not the same in the sense that this contracted, energetic, neurotic kind of sense of somebody who has a life and is in control of that life is no longer there. So there's a naturalness to everything. There's that artificialness isn't there. So it's not, it's the same also. They're just what's appeared to happen. And every character is unique in that there'll be whatever characteristics you want to put on them, carelessness, attentive to detail, attentive to whatever, organized or disorganized or whatever. They're all just aspects of the character that will just appear to continue.
If nothing is hidden, how come we can't see what is apparently obvious?
Because you feel like a person who's looking for something. When you feel like an individual person who lives in the real, you feel like you're looking for something to complete you, or to make that sense of loss or lack or unworthiness or unwholeness, something that will address that and make you complete. So it's this subject-object reality where you feel like somebody, so you're looking at something and you feel it's something that will and that's that whole closed loop of being a person. And that just goes around, apparently it goes around and around and around, and all the time the big divine comedy or joke is that what you're actually looking for isn't something at all. It's simply whatever appears to be, which is no thing. It's already just this is nothing being everything.
Can you talk about what it means when it is said that this is real and unreal appearing simultaneously?
It's real and unreal. Like it's everything is and isn't because it's nothing being everything. The person is the dualism of there being something there are, and another thing called nothing. So it's that play of opposites. It's either one or the other. It's not. It can't be both. Because if it's both, then it's totally beyond the mind. It's totally beyond understandable. It's understanding and knowing. Uh, and this is how it appears to be. It's not. It's real and unreal. The person lives in the real. The person is in that lived experience of just being a person. I'm a real person. This is my real life. Everything is real and only sees something, which is very dissatisfying. There's something, what's yearned for is nothing.
William,
Hi, Kenneth.
Hi, William.
So I just kind of realised something that I thought for the last couple of years that I've been listening to this, that I was really interested in this message and I wanted liberation. But actually, all I'm interested in is making my life work out. And I think it's a tool.
Yeah. That's obvious. so
Maybe to you. I've only just realised.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, you're not being spoken to. You never have been spoken to. So all of that's just energy. So there's no interest in what the motive of William is or isn't. So you could continue to ask questions that are, behind it all are obviously just about you getting something to get somewhere. And that's just energy. That's just what's appearing to happen. At the same time, there can be an openness to, or what's being shared can also resonate too. Like the person can only just make something out of this or want to get something out of this.
The thing is,
they can't hear what's being said at all.
No, there's definitely an openness, like you said, but I'm worried that because my motives are purely selfish,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This has nothing to do with you. This is not. It's not that you said there. My motives are selfish, so it won't happen. It won't happen. It won't happen because it's not happening. Because this is already nothing being everything. Nothing's going to happen over the next. The person feels like something's going to happen, and then there'll be no me or all this concept they have. This is already nothing being everything. This is nothing appearing to happen. Liberation's not going to happen for you because there is no you, and all there is liberation already.
That's great, thanks.
what are your thoughts on blame and forgiveness?
There's just something in the story that appears to happen. So because we feel that we're agents of our lives, that we are the doers, so then we have to take responsibility for our behavior in that, and then we feel that we do unto others, and sometimes we have to we could get the blame or not get the blame, or could ask for forgiveness or not ask for forgiveness, and someone else could either forgive us for something that they feel you've done to them, and forgive you or not forgive you, and it's all a story. When this is seen, it's very obvious there's nobody doing anything to you, and nobody has ever done anything to you. It's just been what's appeared to happen.
question here. So if there's no one awakened, how come there are enlightened beings?
There aren't. It's that simple. There are no, like in the story, there's people who are awakened, who are enlightened, and we believe that to be true then. So that's becomes a reality in the story. There are these enlightened beings. It's a lovely story for the person. The person loves that there's some people who have worked so hard with such purity of intent and action that they achieved some state that maybe we can get to also, that was within our grasp. And it's all a big load of bullshit. It's all a story. It's just a story. The reality of there being enlightened beings is in the story, that we think there are enlightened beings. We behave like there are. In the same way that the teacher-student thing is just a total story. It's an energetic feedback system. I feel there's something missing. You are telling me that you know what's missing. You found what was missing. It's made all the difference to you. Life is amazing now, and you can show me what's missing. So therefore, you are my teacher. I am your student. And then with the energetic feedback reality, which there are teachers and students, and it's all a story. There's no teacher, there's no student, there's nothing to get, there's nowhere to get. There's just simply whatever appears to be happening.
Question here. Is there an inner self that an apparent me can integrate to have this realization of wholeness?
Oh yeah, that there is. There's in yourself. Yeah, did I not mention that at the beginning, Emerson? You should have pulled me up. I always forget that inner self, don't I?
I have a workshop for the inner self. coming
Yeah,
up, so,
yeah.
yeah.
So
clear it up.
I know I'm teasing, and I'm not teasing anybody. Anytime I tease, by the way, it's obviously not personal, because there's nothing personal about this. So there is no individual, there is no separate self at all. So any aspect of the separate self then is a story, artificial. It's all a story. So that sense of there being, it like, and it is I know I teased there and everything, but like, just to go back to the fact that this is a lived reality for the person. So that's why at the very beginning I always say there's no silly questions, there's no kind of great questions or anything, because it is a lived feeling of there being an inner and an outer. It is a lived reality for me when I feel like a person, that I am a person, and there is an inner landscape here, and there is an outer world out there. That's the way it is. It's an energetically contracted reality for the person. It is, and until it isn't. And what's been shared is that whole sense of there being an inner and an outer, that whole sense of being a you, is artificial. There's actually no inner or outer or up or down. All the opposites, all the dualism collapses, and there's nothing, and nothing is everything. It appears as a job, it appears as a car, it appears as a friendship, it appears as a thought, it appears as a feeling, it appears that's all there is energy, and there's no inner or outer, good, bad, anything. It's all a story.
What are your thoughts on being aware of awareness?
Being aware of awareness, yeah, that's what is that Alan Watts one? I know that I know. What I'd like to see is the one that knows me when I know that I know that I know. It's the same thing. It's just, reflexively going back on itself, and I'm aware of awareness, and it's endless. So it's just simply a knowing. It's just simply a knowing that the person appears to have that they're aware that they're aware.
It's like a vicious
Awareness
circle, right?
is
It's like a
completely,
circle.
yeah, it has nothing to do with what's being shared here at all. It's nothing to do with awareness. It's nothing to do with understanding. It's nothing to do with knowing. The person is the knowing. The person is that sense of knowing what's happening, knowing myself, knowing the world, knowing you, knowing. It sounds like an ABBA song now. Knowing me, knowing you. It's totally it's not. This is unknowing. This is unknowing. And what's incredible is it's beyond description that when there's no longer that sense of being a person, everything is nothing and nothing is everything, and this stunning isness that has always been there, and everything being unknowable. It's unknowable, and it's just it's a play of light.
Next question. So just be, capital B-E, and enjoy what appears to happen?
Yeah, so if it was like that, then that would be a different communication altogether. So I would be speaking to someone then who could just be. So who would just be and be happy? So like that would be a totally different message altogether. That would be, oh, blah, 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 blah. So all you need to do is just relax, just worry, kick back, be happy, you know. Who would I be speaking to? Who would do that? Who would be happy?
So everything that the me perceives is illusory?
There is perceiving, there is what appears to happen, and then there's an addition of me to it. So I always like to come back to the senses of there's seeing. So right now there's a computer, there's a window, there's out the house, there's a desk. So all of the things that are perceivable through the sight are there, and then as a person there's a lived sense that I'm seeing. So I'm seeing the computer, and when I look at the computer I can see all these different characters, different backgrounds. Hello. You know, and it's all lovely, and I'm seeing that, and equally I'm hearing. So there's not just, it can't be that there's just what's appearing to happen. It can't be, for the person, it can't be that there's just sound now. There's just sound, and there's just seeing, and that there's just sensation of sitting. No, there has to be, I'm sitting, I'm seeing, I'm hearing. And if there's a thought, well, that's my thought. If there's a feeling, that's my feeling, so on, so on, so on, so on. And that's it. That's that sense of being a person, is there's a lived reality for the person that I'm seeing, I'm hearing, I'm the doer, I'm in the body, like I'm behind the eyes, bounded by the skin. It's my body. Who is it that has the body? Like where are you in there even? Like, you know, I have a brain. So I have a brain. I have hands, I have feet, who are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you that you have hands, you have feet, you have, where? You know, like even what you'll often hear is about people, use your brain more. Yeah, like who are you that's going to use the brain? Like where is this person, that separate person we keep talking about? It's so obvious. It's so ridiculously obvious that it's always overlooked. It's taken for granted that there is a you. No, there is a you. And because in the story everyone is a you, then that solidifies that reality well, I'm a you because, and they also said you're a person and you have choice and you have volition and it's your life and you, so it's continually confirmed. This reality is continually just confirmed, and that's the way it is. You know, this communication is very, very radical in that sense of what's been shared. And actually, when it's seen, it's ludicrously obvious. It's just so obvious that there is no you that started, that was born, and there's no you that will die. There's no you in the whole thing. It's all a story.
Louis.
Hi, Kenneth. Hi, Anderson.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, good to see you again.
yeah, you too.
Yes, I have this question I'm kind of stuck with is, like I know my mind understands, but I think there's sort of an urgency to get this before my physical body dies, you know, like because I've been wrapped up in that story of, you know, of if this dies, then you gotta reincarnate, you know, do the whole thing again. But obviously, you know, listening to the message, and there's no me. But then, you know, there's still that urgency to really, you know, get this. And if there's no me and there's no point anyways, I might as well just go about my.
And who would do that then? Who would go about their business?
There's nobody, I guess. But
yeah, see, there you go.
Yeah,
you know, and it's very ordinary. So what's appearing to happen is what's yearned for. So if that's an urgency, let's call it a longing, right? Let's just say longing. Yeah. So a longing or that's not pleasant for the person. It's a very if it's something painful, it is the pain. It's already the pain. It's already that, like, it's that simple and that immediate.
Yeah.
The person, the energy of being a person is that, well, it can't be this now, it can't be longing. And when this longing is satiated or satisfied or whatever the proper way to say it, then I'll be there. Or when this pain is no more and there's comfortable feeling, then I'll be there. That's all the energy of being a person. It can't be. When I say there's just what's appearing to happen, I mean that there's just what's appearing to happen, no matter what it feels like, no matter if it feels pleasant or unpleasant, or it's painful or pleasurable, or if it's clear or if it's confusing. It doesn't matter. There's just what's appearing to happen.
Yes.
There's nothing that isn't already what's looked for. Nothing. Ever. There's nothing ever. It's inescapable. It's the energy of being a person that feels this isn't it, so it must be something else, and that's going to be around the next corner, isn't it?
Yeah. So I guess the question is kind of like, because I still believe that there's this physical body, that there, you know, it exists and all that. So you know, the mind is going, okay, if this body dies and the self hasn't fallen away, what happens? You know.
Yeah. So that's all just a story now.
So,
that's all just a story. So there's just the body there, and that physical body will appear to die. And you don't know when. It could be this afternoon, it could be this evening, it could be 20 years time, it could be 30 years time, it doesn't matter. But on that physical death of the body, it's seen that there is no 20 years time, there is no this afternoon, there is no evening, there is no 30 years, there is no 20 years, and there is no you. There never has been. And then it's seen by nothing that it's just energy, and that it could not be any other way. It could not be anyway. For the person, it feels like things could be different, and I want to get this sooner now because I might die. I need to get. There is nothing to get, and there's just what appears to happen, and everything just plays out like it plays out.
No, it's not what I imagined to be like. Oh shit, I'm
No.
dead. I'm not getting it. It's not like
I
that.
mean, just in the same way that what's being shared here, in the same way, what's being shared here is not imaginable. Like it's not, you cannot imagine what's being shared here. No, it cannot be. It's not graspable in any way. Like any kind of sense someone has of knowing or imagining what's being shared here isn't it. It's just another idea.
Yeah.
It's completely beyond knowing, completely beyond understanding. It's immediately just what appears to be happening. It's stunning. All of that is a concept. Any idea someone has is a concept.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because I was talking to a friend who's he's not really a seeker, but we do some spiritual stuff together, just improving our lives or something. But I talked to him and I was sharing this message as non-dual message, and he said when he was running, he does a lot of sports. He described it in the way that a lot of like you and some of the speakers described. He said, it was just the hand moving, the foot moving, and I was not there. But
running is I hear that quite a lot from running. Because I haven't been running myself actually, but I used to do some running. I like running, and I hear a lot people talk about that, and there's different language used around it, and it's basically there can be that sense of being as someone who's running can just fall away, and there's just running. It's same with other things as well. It's different activities. There can be a sense of not being, and then what'll happen is you usually hear people say then that it's a kind of state of flow. I'm in the flow, or I'm in flow, or I'm in a flow state, or I'm in the. And what's being shared here is it's not that you're in a flow state. It's that you're not there ever. You're never actually there. There may be that certain activities, could be painting, could be music. Sometimes it's the sporty ones or the kind of creative ones sometimes or whatever, and that sense of being the person who's doing something, who's painting the picture, just isn't there. There's just painting the picture or whatever. And what's being shared here is that it's not about the activity, be it running, painting, whatever. It's what's being shared is you're actually never there. You're always a story. And what in this the energetic sharing of this, that can just be heard, and then it's kind of game over. Really, that sense of being a person is just bang. It's just it's not there, and then there's just it's indescribable then, and you will hear people talking about it saying, "I can't describe what Kenneth was saying for 2 days. I can't say it," and yet it's just so obvious. It's just. There's just there's this, there's whatever appears to happen.
Apparently it's the running, apparently it's the concentration, but it's actually just.
I mean, it is the run. It is everything and nothing. So there's running appears to happen there, but it's, it's not that is particularly a key to something that will unlock something. If it was like that, right? I would have this would be totally different. So what it would be, okay, the whole thing would be like, okay, I fell away. I no longer feel like a person. I've identified the main things that you can do to fall away. One is running, one is this, and I go through them. And that's the way 99.9% of things are presented. And that's logical. I totally get that. That's completely understandable. It's not like that. What's yearned for is nothing to do with what appears to be with you or what appears to be happening. So it has nothing to do with what if someone apparently falls away, right? It has nothing to do with what appeared to lead to that. So if someone could actually be meditating on a 5-day retreat, apparently, and they could apparently fall away, it would be nothing to do with the meditation. Or if they were doing a trail run, a big, huge mountain run, and then suddenly there's just running and there's just the mountains. It just appears that's what appeared to happen. It wouldn't have any significance that nothing, is of any in the story is of any significance, and that's impossible for the person, because the person lives in a causal sequential reality in time and space, in which it has to be one thing leads to another, so it has to be something to do with that. Or anyway, the characters who share it, the first thing people want to know is, well, what happened to you, and what were you doing when that happened? And different people, I was walking across a park. What were you thinking? What were you wearing when you were walking? Which park was it? Or other people. So you were attending a meeting. Whose meeting was it? All of this. They want to know what happened and led to this. And what's being shared, when it's been shared clearly, is this: nothing happened. Nothing happened. This is nothing appearing to happen.
I know we're kind of running out of time. Last comment is I was surprised with my friend who had sort of a glimpse, right? With this running, but he never went on seeking. He never questioned or anything. He never, the interest in crept up with him.
That's interesting. Yeah, I see that a lot as well. Yeah, just and the other thing is, you see, once you feel like a person, there's no such thing really as seekers and not seekers. That's also just a story, because once you feel like an individual person, there's a yearning for something and there's a seeking, be that through traditional, what we think of as more kind of obvious pathways of looking for enlightenment, or be it looking for a lot of money, or looking for recognition or power, or a lot of sex, or whatever it is, it just goes on and on. Whatever, once there's a sense of being separate, there's a seeking for something, and you'll never know what it is. You never put your finger on it. And what's been shared here is you can't put your finger on it, because it's the very effort to put your finger on it. It's not that there's something to get, it's the very, very movement of trying to grasp. It's so immediately just already what appears to be. Thanks, Louis. I always think of that song when you come up, Louis, Louis. Oh no, we've got to go, and we have to go now as well.
Yes,
what amazing timing. That sounds like it was even planned, Louis.
It was perfect.
Yeah, this is totally synchronicity.
Yeah, I think, thanks, we pulled it off. So
We're going
enjoy. And
We're going to our
what
first
time are we
break.
back?